Hey guys, it's September the 21st, 2024, and I hope everybody's having a wonderful Saturday so far today. Today I want to talk about something that has been on my mind since last night, and I can't get it off my mind. And you guys know I just talk about whatever's on my mind for the day, whatever inspires me to talk, and today this is what's been on my mind. Almost 2 years ago, almost to the day, I ended up in the hospital for the second time. And I just started thinking about that last night. For some reason, the date kind of popped in my head, and I started thinking about it. And it's like, it's almost been a solid 2 years at this point now, since I ended up back in the hospital again. And that time was the time that I really almost lost my life. And that was the sickest I've ever been, ever. I went through some really dark times during that period of time. And to be completely honest with you guys, it was from the end of September all the way through the spring of 2023 that I suffered through those dark times. Those were by far the darkest times I've ever been through in my entire life. And the reason I want to talk about this today is because this is one of the reasons that I do these videos every single day. I've been in some really dark places, and that was by far the worst. Even thinking about it makes me want to cry. I'm not even kidding. Those were really tough times, and it's the reason I come on here every single day and talk about this, because I don't want to see anybody else have to go through that. I just don't want to see anybody else have to ever go through that. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. If I could like really explain to you what that felt like and what I went through in words, I would. I just don't know the words for it. I'll do my best and try to explain it to you. I want to try to keep today's video kind of short. So I'm not going to ramble on and on today about this. But like I said, it's just been on my mind. I'll never forget. It had to be, I just looked this up because it was when Hurricane Ian was happening back in 2022. It was the end of September, and Ian hit landfall in South Carolina on September the 29th of 2022, and I was in the hospital when it hit land. I'll never forget being in the hospital, and it was raining outside. It was, wind and rain and all that stuff, and my hospital bed was right beside the window. I was in my own room. I was in the ICU, and I'll never forget when that storm came through. I'll never forget what happened the day that I ended up getting sick. I was on a job, and it was on a Friday. It was, and one of the things, it's funny how we remember these little details from these significant, parts of our life. When we have these like certain instances in our life that pop up, and you'll remember these like really odd details. There's just so many of them that I can think of that pop up in my mind when I think back during those times. And one of them, which isn't that odd, but one of the things I do remember it was a rather cool September that year. It stays pretty hot here through October. And I mean, here in South Carolina, I can't tell you how many times during Christmas I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt during Christmas time. It doesn't really start getting cold here until the end of December, January. We don't have a very long winter here. But anyway, it was just a really cool September. I was on a job. I remember the wind blowing really heavy that morning, and I worked outside. I was running my own business, and I just remember being freezing cold, and then it ended up getting really warm during the day, and then in the middle of the day I got sick and I had to go home. And as a matter of fact, I went back the next day and finished that job with my daughter and my wife. And I was in the middle of pancreatitis doing that. And I worked like 6 hours the next day to get that job done in the middle of pancreatitis. I'm talking about super sick. but I wanted to get that money. I didn't want to just pass up on it. And I thought that I just had the flu or something. I mean, I really did, because I hadn't had a drink since May. And here we are at the end of September. I was so proud of myself. How in the world do I have pancreatitis and I haven't drank anything? There's just no way that's what it was. I was throwing up. I had the fever. I felt like I had the flu. My back was hurting me. My stomach was hurting me. I felt horrible. I mean, I came home, got in the bed, and laid there for the next couple of days. And I'll never forget. It was like I think it was a Monday or Tuesday morning. And I told my wife that if I don't start feeling better by noon, that I needed her to come pick me up and take me to the doctor. And it ended up, I don't remember what time she finally decided just to come home and get me. She came home, picked me up, took me to the doctor, and when I went to the doctor, I went like a doc in the box, and while I was there, he said the same thing. He thought it was just a stomach bug or the flu or something. He said, before you leave, let's just take your blood sugar really quick, or take your blood really quick. And when he took my blood, he was gone for a few minutes. He came back in the room, and he had a little teeny little piece of paper. This is like the little package from my glasses wipes, but it was about this size, and on that little piece of paper was written $4.90. I'll never forget it. And he handed that piece of paper to me, and I was kind of confused. I didn't understand why he was handing me a paper with a number on it. And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "That's your blood sugar, man. You need to go to the hospital." And right after that, my wife took me to the hospital. And on the way to the hospital, I'd been throwing up all this period of time, but I was not throwing up blood. So I thought I was in the clear. But on the way to the emergency room, I was about to get sick, and I asked my wife to please pull the truck over. And when she did, I leaned out the passenger side door, and when I threw up, it was red blood. And I threw up a lot of it. Not a little bit. And I knew right then something seriously wrong. So we went to the emergency room. We went in there. There was nobody else in there when I got there, as a matter of fact. And it was just luck. And we walked in, told them what was going on with me, and they immediately took blood and then did a CAT scan. And within 10 minutes of me being there, they already had figured out I was in the middle of pancreatitis again. So waited there. They gave me some pain medication, and I just hung out there, and they said, "We're going to transfer you," because I was at like a satellite emergency room. So they said, "We're going to transfer you to the hospital. We got an ambulance coming to pick you up." They took me to the hospital, and then that's where everything started. And I went to that hospital and then got transferred to Columbia, South Carolina. We were right in the middle of that Hurricane Ian. They wanted me to go to Charleston, South Carolina, but I told them I don't want to go down there because they were in the middle of a hurricane, and all of downtown Charleston was flooded. I just didn't want to go to a hospital where they were going to be short-staffed and all that kind of stuff, which, looking back now, hindsight, I wish I had gone there, because that's where all the specialists are that really are the ones that saved my life. But I didn't go, and I went to Columbia, South Carolina, and spent almost 3 weeks up there. And that was that period of time, from that September all the way through the spring of that next year. Those were the darkest times of my life. And I can honestly tell you guys this. When I got out of that hospital, and this is the time that they told me that I had a year left to live. And when I came home from that, I can't explain to you guys how sick I was. I can't tell you guys how much of a challenge it was to go through that. It makes me emotional just even thinking about it. I can't tell you how hard it was to get up out of that bed, just go to the bathroom. And, I had to walk around with a walker, and had to get somebody to help me. Like when my wife would take me to the doctor, like they had to help me get out of the truck and then get the walker out for me to walk in there. I thought that was going to be my life forever. I really thought that was going to be my life forever. Sorry. I really thought that was going to be it. And that's why I talk about this every single day. Because I don't want other people to have to go through this. I cannot explain to you guys how dark of a time that was. And the stuff that I went through mentally, physically, emotionally. I can tell you this much, though, that what I went through, I'm still here. I'm still alive. You have to excuse me. I didn't mean to get emotional. Just, I'm telling you guys, I've been thinking about this a lot. And, the things that I went through during that period of time, I can't even explain to you how hard that was. To watch my wife and my kids leave every single day and go to school and go to work while I laid there in the bed just being a useless pile of crap. And I put myself there because I didn't reach out for help. I didn't seek help. I knew I needed help and I never asked for it. I had people telling me you need to get some help, and I just wouldn't, because there was always this idea I can do it myself. I always thought that I could fix it, and I couldn't fix it. There was nothing I could do. I could not fix it. I tried on my own. I wish I had sought help, but I didn't. And I'd had pancreatitis multiple times leading up to this. I mean, I don't even know how many times I've had pancreatitis at this point now, probably 20, and I'm not kidding about that. But I can honestly tell you that there were so many days that I thought about just going off into the woods and ending it all. I couldn't deal with it anymore, but I kept fighting, and I hung in there and pushed through it. But I caused those problems because I drank the way that I did, and I was too embarrassed, too proud, too guilty, too shameful, too everything, just too much of everything, too full of myself to ask for help and to seek the help that I needed. Who knows what would have happened if I had done that? And the thing is, now there's no use to look back during those times and say what if and all that kind of stuff, because it's all happened and it's over and done with now, and there's nothing I can do to change it. But the one thing that I can do is come on here every single day and talk to you guys and try to talk some sense into any of you guys that are still drinking, and just spread the word and the awareness and let you know that alcohol, if you continue to drink in a manner that is out of control, you're most likely going to end up getting sick. You don't want to end up like that. I can promise you. I can absolutely 100% promise you, you do not want to end up in the hospital with an alcohol-related disease. There are so many reasons I could sit here and just pour out to you guys reasons not to want to end up in the hospital. I could talk about it. I could talk about it for hours, but I think you probably already know. And the thing is that the reason I come on here every single day is to talk about this with you guys, to try to help any of you and try to wake some people up and knock some sense into some people or whatever. Maybe something I say will hit a chord and you'll go, I do not want to end up like him, and I'm going to stop. Today's going to be the day, or whatever. And I say this in every single one of my videos, but don't try to stop drinking without talking with the doctor first. I can't control what you do. It's your life. But I'm still going to tell you, don't drink without speaking with a doctor. Don't quit drinking without speaking with the doctor first. But, the thing is that, once again, I can sit here and talk about all the reasons not to drink over and over and over again. All the bad stuff that I went through when I was in the hospital, when I got out of the hospital. how dark those times were for me. Just trying to get up. I'll never forget just trying to get up out of the bed. I would lay there all day long, and then somewhere around lunchtime, I would try to muster up the energy just to get up and walk to the kitchen. I remember how accomplished I felt just getting up and walking to my kitchen. And, for so long, I thought, this is going to be it. This is my life forever until I'm gone. I'm going to be walking around with a walker, having ascites, embarrassed to go anywhere. I was seriously skin and bones with a big belly. I looked like I was 9 months pregnant, and I looked like I weighed about 80 pounds. I'm not kidding you guys. I don't have any pictures really from that period of time. There's a couple of pictures that like my mom and dad might have taken of me, but I don't know. I haven't really asked. I don't ever want to look at those pictures, to be quite honest with you. There are a couple of pictures from when I was like in the hospital, but you can't really tell what's going on with me during that period of time. I don't think there's any pictures from when I was in the hospital in Columbia, South Carolina. I don't think there's any pictures from that time period. I don't even think I've ever spoken about this. And I'm going to tell this little story right quick, and I'm going to get off of here. But when I ended up in the hospital in Charleston, I ended up in Columbia, South Carolina. My brother came up there that day. They drove me up there in an ambulance at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And it was like an hour-long drive up there in the middle of hurricane rains. I'll never forget it. It was freezing cold in the back of the ambulance. I could not get warm. They had to have another EMT, a specialized EMT, to be back there with me because they had so many of those I don't know if they're like IVs or what, but it's like it's a little medicine machine that pumps into your IVs. But there was like 10 of those little boxes and they had to like hang it on the side of my bed. It kept flopping over as we were driving down the road. He had to keep fooling with it the whole way there. And I'll just never forget that ride up there. And how scared I was. I was going to another hospital. I was freezing cold. It was dark. They were hauling tail up there. I'm not kidding. They were going so fast. And I could feel every bump in the road back there. Just riding in an ambulance sucks in itself. And then riding in an ambulance for that long really sucks. And when they're going that fast, it's pouring rain outside. It's cold. It was just a horrible ride up there. And I'll never forget getting to that hospital. They wheeled me out of the back of the ambulance, and then they started taking me up to the floor. I'll never forget them taking me into my room. I went to the ICU up there, and they took me in the room. The room was really strange. I'd never been in a hospital room like that before, and it almost looked like a hotel room. But there was a big glass window right there, and the nurse sat, and I guess she could see other rooms. She probably had like 2 rooms that she took care of, but there was a glass window. I'll never forget, they wheeled me in. The nurse was sitting in there looking at me. And she came in there and spoke to me, introduced herself to me. And then not much longer after that, my brother showed up. My brother took the day off of work and drove up there to come be with me. And my brother is a nurse as well. He's an RN, and he works in surgery. But when they got me into that room, I was very, very, very sick. And I had been defecating all over myself because I was bleeding internally. And it was this like black tar diarrhea that I had, and I had already like pooped all over myself multiple times at this point, right before I'd left. And then when I got up to the hospital, I had asked a nurse to please help me because I did not want to go to the bathroom on myself again. And she offered me a bedpan, and I said, I don't want a bedpan. I don't want to have to go to the bathroom like that. And I said, can I please get one of those toilets so I can sit beside the bed? And she absolutely refused to let me have one. They were afraid I was going to fall. And I ended up going to the bathroom on myself. And the nurse was busy during that period of time. I don't remember what was going on. All I do remember is my brother had to wipe my butt. He had to clean me up. He had to clean all that poop off of me. Never in a million years did I ever think that my brother, my little brother, would be cleaning up poop off of me one day. Never thought I'd ever have to go through that. point of today's video is, guys, is that you don't want to end up like that. And I'm sorry I got emotional. I'm going to leave it just like this. I think it adds a little bit of authenticity to it. And I want you to see it. Because I want you to see how it's affected me. You do not want to end up there. Don't go back to drinking. Don't let that little person on your shoulder talk you into it. And if you're trying to stop drinking right now, stick with it. Don't give in. It gets easier with time. It's not worth it. Alcohol will destroy your life. Either physically, financially. You'll be incarcerated. It doesn't matter. Nothing good comes from drinking alcohol. It just doesn't. There are certain people out there that can handle having just a beer on a Friday night or a glass of wine. We're not one of them. If you're watching this video right now, you probably have a problem and you probably need help if you haven't stopped already. The point of today's video is just that don't drink, don't go back. And if you're thinking about stopping, just stop. But talk to a doctor first. Do not be like me. And that's why I'm here every single day talking about this. I really do want to help prevent other people from having to go through the things that I've been through. I can promise you, it's not a good time. And with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here for today. I really appreciate you watching. Once again, sorry I got emotional, but it is what it is. And because those were some very emotional times for me. And anytime I start thinking about it, it makes me emotional. It's hard not to think about those times. I'm telling you, when I say for real that it was the hardest time I've ever been through in my lifetime, nothing else holds a candle to it. Nothing. That was the hardest thing I've ever been through in my entire life. And it's not like it was just one day or a week or 2 weeks. It lasted for months. And I'm still dealing with it right now. I'm nowhere near as sick as I was during that time period, but I'm still dealing with the health consequences because of it. My life has been drastically shortened because of it. And once again, I just want to help other people and let them realize that if you continue to drink in the manner that you are, it's not going to end well. Stop now. See you guys in tomorrow's video. I love y'all so much. Bye-bye.